today we're going to find out what LeBron James, Dana White, and Carrot Top all have in common. Welcome to the Spreadsheet, the first show specifically built to cover what's happening in prediction markets. I'm your host, Noah Gardenswartz, and we're going to be covering a lot of topics on the show, but I want you to know you can trust my opinion on a variety of subjects like sports, finance, politics, because I played college basketball, I day traded for a hedge fund, and I'm an active participant in every election. Now on today's show, we're going to be discussing everything from NBA championship odds, the return of Jesus, and whether or not aliens exist. So like your worst friend at a bar who's yipped up at 2 a.m., we got opinions about everything. Let's get to it. All right, I am very excited to welcome today's guest. Fantastic comedian. She has 2 specials available on Amazon. She is a co-host of the hilarious podcast Against His Will. She's also beautiful, and I can say that because she's my wife. Aww. Please welcome the hilarious, the wonderful Ester Steinberg. Esther, thank you so much for joining us on the Spreadsheet.
Thank you.
Now, we are having you on for
Make It Pop,
which is our pop culture segment. Of course, we're going to talk any interesting, exciting, fun bets in the world of pop culture, which can extend to movies, TV, music, or this first bet, which I think might be arguably the most significant pop culture of all time. The big man up top, Jesus Christ. Now, there is an incredibly popular bet. Will Jesus Christ return before 2027? Polling at 4% saying yes. What are your initial thoughts?
This is world's most delusional bet, which I love. Whoever these 4% are, I want to hire them to give me a morning pep talk because this is insanity.
I just love a world where someone bets yes, Jesus returns, and they're like, hell yeah, I just made $2,500.
Jesus returns, and now what? A new stove.
I love that the bet on whether or not Jesus will return has just turned into a bunch of accountants and financial planners being like, is this a high enough yield to justify this guaranteed 4%?
Jesus is coming back, or just put it in a secure CD.
You want to be 20% cash, 30% stocks, 20% bonds, 8% gold, 2% Jesus. Now we're going to get into pop culture of actual movies. There is a very popular trending bet on who will be cast as the next James Bond.
And thank you for having me on your show to discuss very attractive British men.
Well, I just need to know whose picture I need to put in the middle of the dartboard. So Callum Turner is the overwhelming favorite. Was in a movie called Fantastic Beasts. Most notably, he is also Dua Lipa's boyfriend. So he's British, and obviously attractive women will sleep with him, which I think are bare minimum characteristics for James Bond. The next one that was interesting to me, Jacob Elordi is a popular choice.
Yes, we know him.
I think that is wasted money for 2 reasons. He's Australian, so I think the Brits will legitimately riot. But beyond that, he's way too big for the cars and gadgets associated with James Bond. Like, how hilarious would it be if James Bond was in a rush to get the bad guy, but physically couldn't get out of his Aston Martin to chase him?
He just can't get the suit on. It's a little too tight.
Right.
I just wanted to bring up Sean Connery was Scottish. Pierce Brosnan was Irish. So I actually would put money on Jacob Elordi because women are obsessed with him, and he's definitely like spiritually British.
There's also discussion on whether or not James Bond has to be white. For a while, Idris Elba was the betting favorite to be the next James Bond. And I see we have Damson Idris, who's another very handsome black British actor that could play James Bond. And it opens the door for so much fun casting. If a black actor can be James Bond, then that means Jack Harlow can be Dolomite.
It would make someone's wildest dreams come true.
Based strictly on attraction and who you would like to watch play James Bond physically for 90 minutes.
Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi.
You answered entirely too quickly. Calm down.
Oh.
Thank you for being our guest. Lovely to have you. Thank you. If you ever have a comment or see something crazy in the world of prediction markets, we want to hear from you. Hit us at our line or email us. All right, well, today's next guest on the Spreadsheet, I am so excited to bring in. He's an actor on the show Ted. He has an incredible comedy special called You Choose, available on YouTube. He's got a new comedy special coming out soon. More importantly, dear friend, one of my favorite comics. Less importantly, an avid Washington sports fan. Please welcome Danny Jolles. Danny, thank you. Welcome to the Spreadsheet.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Unfortunately, this segment
Get sporty.
has absolutely nothing to do with the Washington Wizards because we are discussing 2026 championship odds for the NBA. So let's get into it. Just looking at the numbers, obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder are the overwhelming betting favorite, currently sitting at 39%. Next up, we have the Spurs at 15%, Celtics at 11%. Just from a numbers perspective, I actually think Oklahoma is a little undervalued here at 39%. But what's interesting about all the prediction market sites is it's not about like analytics and math nerds with their algorithms. It's very much bet on emotion.
In general, what I've seen of the poly market world, it tends to always undervalue the favorite because people want to bet underdogs, and Vegas doesn't care if you bet underdogs. They're going to keep their odds the same.
Here's where I think we probably go from 42% to 39% is their coach's stupid haircut. Mark Daigneault has a bottom 2 NBA coach haircut in the league. And I personally feel like when you see a coach call a timeout, you see a coach call for a challenge, you go, oh, I fucking hate that guy. And it just becomes more annoying. I think people are not pricing in how much a shitty haircut from an NBA coach can ruin their chances. And this is coming from a Nuggets fan whose coach has the worst NBA haircut. David Adelman looks like he went into the barber and said, give me the Mark Davis, give me the Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Next up, we have the Spurs, which is obviously the second place team right now because they're second place in the West. But I was looking, they started the season at 20%, which is incredibly high for an unproven team. And here's my theory. People saw Wemby training with the Monks this offseason and expected big things.
You're not wrong because it threw all of us off.
Yeah, you see a 7'4" Frenchman training under the tutelage of old Asian wise men, and you're like, he's in good hands. The rest of the league is in trouble.
When you see an NBA player who's already very good go the same route that Batman went.
Now, I'm going to parlay this into some financial advice. Take the Knicks at 5% and buy stock in ABM, which is a national janitorial company, because if the Knicks win the championship, they will be cleaning that city up for months. What the people of New York will do to the streets, buildings, and apartments of New York if the Knicks win a championship will feed generations in the janitorial line forever.
Yes, and I firmly believe that will not happen.
Okay, fair enough. All right, now, next up in NBA news, the NBA has officially granted rights for an expansion bid to exclusively Seattle and Las Vegas. So right now, both cities are being financially audited so that they can see where the bid to bring a franchise to those cities is going to fall. Right now, estimates are between $7 and $10 billion is what it's going to cost to bring a franchise to either. Now, I want you and I to create a prediction market that doesn't exist yet on who is going to ultimately buy and own the Las Vegas franchise. I'm going 50% Mark Davis, 3 WNBA championships. I'm going 25% LeBron, because the whole Las Vegas kerfuffle in the NBA started years ago when LeBron said when he retires, he would love to one day bring a franchise to Las Vegas. I'm going 10% Magic Johnson because he sold his stake in the Lakers, and I could see Magic in Vegas.
Yep.
And here's the kicker. 5% Carrot Top. I think people are unaware of how much money Carrot Top is sitting on after 2 decades of a Vegas residency.
I think there's a real case to be made that he could be your mascot.
Just shows up at the game with the muscles and...
Yeah. Carrot Top is running around the stadium causing havoc at all times with props. The only name I would add would be Dana White.
Ah, that's a good pick. Now you're altering my prediction market. I think Dana White instantly goes to at least 30%.
Yep.
Okay, that's a good call. Yep. We're making things happen, baby. We're making money over here.
Power Index.
All right, Danny. Well, I'm glad we just had that segment because it actually served as the perfect transition from Get Sporty into Power Index, where we talk about politics, power, and the money that makes the world go round. There is currently a trade on whether or not Jake Paul will announce a run for public office in 2026. Apparently, Jake Paul appeared at a rally in Kentucky with President Trump, where President Trump got the crowd in a frenzy by saying he's expecting an announcement soon and that Trump would fully endorse Jake Paul. Now, I do want to be clear. It is not will Jake Paul win. It's not will he go through a full run. It's simply will he announce a run for public office, and it can be any public office. I believe if Jake Paul decides he wants to run for comptroller of Cincinnati, you can cash that bet. So what are your thoughts?
I don't believe the crowd was whipped into a frenzy. I believe the crowd was baffled and confused.
Fair enough.
This is a bad bet.
Obviously, the betting public believes he will not run, but you don't see any value in taking a flyer at 14% for a good payout that one night he gets a little hopped up on Prime and decides to go for it?
Listen, Jake Paul's a loose cannon.
Doesn't the fact that he's gone completely off the deep end make it more likely that he would do something like run for public office?
And that's your only hope. He makes so much more money boxing. I don't think Jake Paul cares about this. I don't think Jake Paul knew Donald Trump was going to say that.
What's interesting about Jake Paul is I believe he's from Ohio but lives in Puerto Rico. So politically speaking, he either represents a state that is very important to the political landscape of America or a territory that most Americans don't realize is a U.S. territory.
One of them being Jake Paul.
You think Jake Paul thinks he lives in a foreign country?
I'm pretty sure he does.
The next story I want to bring up in the Power Index, there is a trending bet right now on whether or not the U.S. will confirm that aliens exist.
Dude, aliens?
And if you read through the comments, a lot of people that are voting yes are specifically saying that Trump and the government will acknowledge aliens exist before 2027, specifically to take away attention from all the other things like the war and Epstein files. So I wouldn't put it past Trump to announce that the government is verifying aliens exist before 2027.
I read the rules because I said what counts is confirmed.
It's funny that you wanted to focus on what counts unconfirmed because I wanted to make sure they were clear about what constitutes an alien. I could see someone trying to be slick and being like, Victor Wembanyama is nicknamed the alien. We know he exists.
Bruh.
Yep.
So they were very clear to outline extraterrestrial.
Fun fact about Danny Jolles. Big alien guy.
Okay.
Anytime there's alien news, I'm on top of it. The government has done 10 drops in the last 5 years.
Soft launches.
And it really is just usually something flew across the sky this day. We don't know what it is. Something landed here. Not quite sure what it was. And they're going to do that until the end of time. To get a definitive, yes, there are extraterrestrial life, is going to take a wild situation. And it's going to be an alien walking out with Donald Trump going, I'm here. And I don't see it happening.
I honestly believe if he's desperate enough for a distraction and he sees that acknowledging aliens exist gets him out of the news, before 2027, we're going to see Trump doing a press conference with Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy.
100%. And if you go bottom right of this screen, Trump declassifies new UFO files by December 31st, put all my money on that. All day and twice on Sunday would I buy this.
All right. Well, there we have it. Again, our guest, Danny Jolles. Follow him at Danny Jolles on all things social. Thank you for joining us today.
Anytime. What a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, as fun as the prediction markets are, sometimes the only thing more entertaining than the bets themselves are the comments people are making below. So we are going to do this week's segment of King of the Trolls. On the bet of will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist by 2027, someone commented, I'm going to buy a gun to shoot those green motherfuckers. And I love this comment because this guy lives in a world where he believes all the alien tropes that aliens exist and they're green, but are susceptible to a human gun. Dude, if green aliens that we've seen in the movies actually exist, your gun doesn't stand a chance. Next comment. Trollmaster, when asked who's going to win the 2026 NCAA basketball championship, just said Duke. We can see his P&L and he's at a lifetime negative $6K. He has lost $6,000. So this is what I want the listeners to know. Sometimes you don't have to be right about the bet. You just have to be right about who's going to be wrong. Trollmaster is what I like to call a patsy. So if he says yes to Duke, I'm saying no to Duke and I'm milking the tea to that patsy. Now, on the trade as to whether or not humans will land on the moon in 2026, this comment said the moon doesn't even exist. This guy has skipped from the conspiracy theory of the moon landing doesn't exist to the straight up moon doesn't even exist. He has graduated to PhD of tinfoil hat theory. And if he doesn't believe in the moon, he doesn't believe in rising tides. But you know what? I believe in him. I love this comment. Congratulations, sir. You are this week's King of the Trolls. All right, that's our show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow on all the socials at Spreadsheet Show. If you see something interesting or want to comment on something crazy in the world of prediction markets, please remember to call or email us to be on next week's spread line. And as always, if you see a bet out there that you like, book it, cook it, don't overlook it. I'm out.